Eli looks like. He's joining us here on Monday. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Craig.
You know, people get confused here on broadcast, but it was very emotional. We took a lot of emails, a lot of calls saying, hey, Charlie Strong, had the hat on, had this on.
That's right. You got to make sure you know who you're talking about when you're on TV. That's right.
Another big thing this weekend, and we want to talk to Dr. Eli because he is a relationship expert, he is a relationship author, he does a little bit of everything, family therapist. Lindsay Lohan failed a drug test. I got to ask you about her because here's a multi-zillionaire. As a child actor, she did some great roles like The Parent Trap. She failed a drug test, went to jail, and it looks like she failed another one and may go back to jail. Yeah. It depends what the judge says. What's going on with her life? So talented, but yet sounds like so confused.
I don't know. I'd consider The Parent Trap a great role, but Lindsay, she's in the public eye, and I'm kind of on Lindsay information overload. I've kind of over Lindsay, but the true fact about this, when you're in recovery from any kind of addiction, it's hard, and generally there's a huge relapse rate in recovery. Added to that, the being in the public eye as much as she is, it's a highly irregular situation. But in the road to recovery, there's ups and downs, and she's just doing it in front of millions and millions of people.
Well, what do you think of Lindsay Lohan? Or maybe you have a relationship problem, or you have some family squabbles going on there. Dr. Eli is here, 502-276-2118. We're also taking your emails live at WBKI.TV. We like your emails. We get plenty of emails. Dr. Eli gets emails, and we have one coming in here. Go alone. This is from Angela, and Angela writes, I am currently being treated by my physician for depression. He suggested that I try talk therapy in addition to medication. Should I bring up my husband with me or go alone? Okay, what about this one?
Well, Angela, I think number one, there is generally no magic pill. So even if you're biologically disposed to depression, generally research shows talk therapy in combination with medication is the way to go. Now, if you bring your spouse or not, that depends on if you have marital conflict or not. And again, all the research says if there is marital conflict. And when you think about depression, Craig, if you're stuck, how could it not affect your relationship? That's how we think. Generally, it carries over, and your spouse isn't happy, you're not happy. So when conflict is present, you should bring your spouse. And I think there's no harm coming to a marriage and family therapist, a couples expert. And if you bring your spouse the first time and the issues are really more on you, at least you have your spouse there as a resource. They meet the therapist so they can come back later on if they need to.
But a lot of guys, Dr. Eli, will go, I'm not going to go to therapy. I don't need that. I'm a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, men need therapy too. I mean, this is big misconception that you have to be big and tough and hard, but a lot of those guys have the same issues going on in women, and maybe it's more socially acceptable for the woman to vent her emotions or that, but everybody's got to do it.
Well, if you're having a hard time with your relationship, call us up right now, 502-276-2118. We have Dr. Eli here. He's up first for you today, and we're taking your emails live at WBKI.TV. Have another one from Debbie, and this is a different kind of question from Debbie. I love my husband and our physical connection. We have a great relationship and would like to have kids, but we're nervous about how it will affect things between us in the bedroom. Any advice?
Yep. Well, Debbie, I think that is an important question again, and you should know one of the things we do is normalize things for couples. So after the birth of a first child, not only does the relationship satisfaction go like this, but so does sexual satisfaction. So knowing that information is important. Now, does that mean that your sex life has to go in the tank once you have a child? Of course not.
Well, why does it head south? I mean, the woman is caring for the child in that first 30, 60, 90 days. That's obvious. I mean, that's what she does. That's what couples do. But why after that 90-day, 100-day period, does the engine not rev back up again?
Good question. Well, there's lots of physical changes going on, just the logistics of giving birth and the recovery that a female's body has to go through. There's also, and I can tell you this, having a 4-month-old daughter, there's the 3 a.m. feedings, there's your whole schedule is off. And the last thing you want to do when you're sleep deprived, when you're not back to your fighting weight, if you will, is to think about being intimate. So these factors and other things kind of prevent that. But the good news is if you have a good sexual history to draw from, if you have a good intimate connection in the past, even if you get out of sync, you can get it back. But it's all about starting a sexual dialogue, and you shouldn't wait till you have that first child to do it. Again, this is a normal thing, and when couples get this information ahead of time, whether it comes from me, someone like me, or a good book or something like that, they don't freak out when these predictable things happen. So you got to have the information.
We'll talk about intimacy challenges after birth of a child. Dr. Eli deals with conflict with couples throughout Kentuckiana. You see the number on your screen, and his information is confidential. Feel free to call him. He also deals with couples struggling with infertility, those who may be challenged to have a child. Also recovering from infidelity, family boundaries, and communication, blended families. And I think that communication is the key to a lot of the problems. I mean, a lot of times people don't talk, they shut people out, and that's where Dr. Eli comes in. You see his number, is communication really up high on your list of what couples need to do?
Right, it's kind of a foundational block. It's a process that guides all the other parts of the relationship. You need the tools to be able to talk to your partner, and that way you can talk about things in advance, be preventative, so when, again, these predictable life challenges and transitions happen, you don't freak out.
Okay, we have one more email we want to get to, and we appreciate your emails live at WBKI.TV. Cliff is emailing us here. I'm a guy, but I'm having a hard time finding outlets to deal with my relationship difficulties. I don't feel comfortable talking to other dudes about stuff like this. I need some outlets. Right. Well, a lot of guys have friends, but it depends how close those friends are.
Right, and that's what you were talking about earlier. Guys that have this misconception at Cliff that you cannot talk to, you have to somehow figure it out on your own. And mostly where guys go for information is their favorite men's periodical, your Maxim, your Playboy, or something like that. Information might be good at how to hook up, but it's not practical on how to have a real relationship. So I think you have to highlight people that you trust, that are in good, healthy relationships, maybe older mentors, family friends, or I think it's a misconception that you can't talk to relationships about women too, or you can only be sexually attracted to women and you can't have friendships with them. I don't think that's true. I think it's kind of getting out of the bubble of your head, talking to other people, Cliff. And I think it's also being okay to come and see somebody like me. Again, there's no stigma to it. Some of the best work I do is with young men in their 20s and 30s that are trying to figure out how to be in a relationship, because they're doing things that they think work, but it might get you in the door, but it doesn't keep you and form those long-term bonds.
Well, Dr. Eli is a professor at the University of Louisville. He is also a family therapist. He deals with marriage issues, and you can get a hold of him. You see the number on your screen. He also provides confidential couple one-on-ones. He has retreats. He can come out and even speak to a group, so you want to give him a call, 502-749-8825, EliKaram.com. He's with us just about every Monday to answer some of your questions. Good having you with us here today.
Good seeing you, Craig.
And we'll talk to you again soon.
All right.
Coming up, Becca White's going to be here. We're going to be talking to her and Chris Caswell about Kentuckiana living, and Ricky Jones. We're going to be talking tea parties. Don't go away.